Today we're in the kitchen and we are making homemade pizza dough. It is super simple and all you need are a few simple ingredients. First of all, you take some water, and this is a cup of warm water. Make sure that it's not too hot, because if it is too hot, it will actually kill the yeast. We're gonna add that to the bowl. We're gonna add 1 package of yeast to the bowl as well. I'm actually using a pizza crust yeast, but you can use an active yeast, any active yeast, 1 package of that, or that's actually the equivalent of 2.5 teaspoons. And then we're gonna take wheat flour, and we're gonna add 1.5 cups of wheat flour. Now, this is whole wheat flour, and I actually chose white wheat. You may be wondering, what is white wheat? And white wheat is actually a strain of wheat. It just happens to be lighter in color and has a smoother texture than red wheat, which is the other color of wheat. So this is white wheat, and I'm gonna give this a stir. Making sure it's all incorporated. And you can see that it's a little wet, which is, that's a-okay, because what we're gonna do next is we're gonna add a few more ingredients. Now, pizza dough and flour generally don't have a lot of flavoring, so where we're gonna get our flavoring is with our olive oil. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then salt. So sometimes when you buy a pizza dough at the grocery store, it often has a lot of sodium in it, but here we're able to control the amount of salt that we're putting into this dish. And we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're gonna mix that up, and then we're going to add 1¼ cups of flour. And this time we're actually gonna add all-purpose flour. Now I'm using a 1/2 cup measuring cup, so that's why when I say 1¼ cups, you'll notice I'm gonna add 2 of these and then 1/2 of one. Again, this is just all-purpose flour. This is generally white flour that you will find. We are now going to mix this up and put it out onto a surface and knead it for a little bit. Now, I am gonna put another 1/4 cup of flour onto our surface, and we're gonna knead the flour into the dough. So let me mix this up first. Now, this is where the fun begins. Really is getting our hands into the dough and kneading it. So I've gotten as much as I can mixed into this. I'm dumping this out onto my surface, and I'm just gonna start kneading it. And that means, let me move away the flour so you can see. That means just continuing to incorporate the flour into the dough. Now, if it gets to a point where we're not necessarily seeing the flour incorporate, a few things we can do. One is we can stop kneading the excess flour around. So I'm actually gonna move the excess flour out of the way, and I'm gonna knead this. Now, kneading is actually using the heel of your hand to press the dough. So we're gonna knead this for about 30 to 60 seconds. You can hear the table shake as I knead. I'm really putting my heel of my hand into this. You can see there's a little sticky here, so I'm just gonna add a little more of that flour. Continue to knead this. Oh, another little sticky, so I added just a hair more flour, using and rolling the heel of my hand. Oh, this is so nice. What we want in the end is a really nice, supple dough, so that's soft to the touch and feels really silky smooth. I'm gonna knead this for about 5 minutes in the end is what you wanna do. So we're not gonna do the whole thing here, but you'll get the idea of what, and this is a workout if you can't tell. Starting to become breathless, right? Because of this wonderful kneading. Now you can see here, this dough is really nice and soft. I'm gonna continue to knead this for another couple minutes. But once I do get it to the very soft consistency that I'm looking for, I'm gonna put it back in the bowl with some plastic wrap over it, and I'm gonna let it rest. So we're gonna let it rest 30 to 60 minutes before we pull it out to make our pizza.